Today we will start Unit 15. It's all about finances, loans, and investments. You'll remember last unit we used recursive rules to describe sequences. This time we're going to use those recursive rules to figure out how much you might still owe on a loan, or if you invest money, how much money you make. Here's an example of what a loan might look like. Say that your parents volunteered to put $500 toward a snowboard, and any amount of money beyond that, if you want to purchase a more expensive snowboard, you would have to pay your own. So let's say that you want to spend $250 more than they were willing to give you. You might have to take a loan out from your parents. Your parents probably aren't going to charge you interest. So you might start with $250 that you owe. And then if you pay off $30 a month, you can see how your balance would decrease until you ended up paying the last month, that 8th month, you end up paying just $10 instead of $30. Let's look what happens, however, if you borrow from your brother, because your brother's probably going to charge you interest. So every month, let's say that he charges you 2.5% interest. In other words, he's going to take that $250. He's going to multiply it by 1.025, and that's how much he is now in the balance of your what you owe him. But of course, after you do that, you're going to pay him the $30. So look what happens for the first month. You end up owing him $6 more than you did your parents because you owe him interest. You're paying him for the money that you borrowed. Notice that this is the second month, the third month, and you're going to end up down here. You're going to end up having to pay for a whole nother month, and then you're going to end up having to pay $14 in that 9th month. So we know how much you paid altogether. In the first example, you had to pay back the $250, but there was no extra money charged. Let's figure out how much you had to pay altogether in this situation. So we know that you paid for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times you paid your brother, even though this is negative. We're going to subtract something off later. So 10 times you paid your brother $30, which means that you paid him $300. Yeah, but he's going to give you back that 16. At least he better. So really, you only ended up paying him $284, but you had to pay him for letting him lend you money. So it's probably better to, if you can borrow from your parents. Money works the other way also. If you give your money to a bank, they're going to pay you for letting them borrow your money, in a sense. But we're going to look at the years now instead of the month. So let's say instead of paying that $250, borrowing that $250, let's say instead your parents say, well, if you get the cheaper snowboard, we will put $250 in a savings account for you. Now, savings accounts don't earn a lot of interest these days, so about 1.5% is what they earn. In other words, if you take $250 and multiply by 0.015, you're going to get $4 in interest that first year. Not a whole lot. And that's kind of what's happening here. You are gaining interest. Now you'll notice that down here from this year to this year, you gain a little bit more than $4. Well, let's find a year that you gain a little bit more, because now you've got more interest or more principal in the bank, like right here. So you've got $294 in the bank. Now you're going to start earning $5 of interest every time. So you can see the more principal you have, the more money you make. What if not only do you earn this 1.5% interest every year, what if you put in another $250 every year? You can see you get down to this year 18, and in fact, if you keep going, look at this, year 20. Instead of having 337, you're now at 6,118. But what if instead you had invested in something that had 8% interest, like a money market or a stock, and you got lucky and it pays back 8%? You can see how much more interest or how much more money you will have at the end of your 20 years if your interest rate is that much bigger.